The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the Great Paranormal Debate with hosts Kerry and Paul on Parasearch UK Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Great Paranormal Debate. And tonight's show has got nothing to do with St Patrick's because it's St Patrick's Day today. So I'm going to now introduce my co-host for tonight, Kerry Ann. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Yeah. So, St Patrick's Day.
Well,
have you done anything St Patrick's Day-ish today?
Well, I tell you. No, I'll tell you for why. The St Patrick, who chased the snakes, they were actually connected to the pagans.
Oh.
So
okay.
yes, I know. So I've not really, I know that people are going crazy. Everyone that is not St Patrick, who is not Irish, is celebrating St Patrick's Day today, and I don't know why. I can't imagine.
They'll all be in the pub.
Yes, they will. But so no, I haven't. But I can see lots of people have had an amazing day today and then had a Guinness and spent some time with friends. In fact, there was like a 3-day celebration in London, isn't there?
Apparently so. So I'm off to that, and I'll see you later.
I'll see you later. But yeah,
bye.
There's lots going on today. And I've got friends that are travelling out of the UK to celebrate it as well. So people are going really crazy for it.
Very nice. I did see on Facebook earlier that there was a river in, I think it was France or the Netherlands somewhere, and they've just dyed the whole river green.
Really?
They do that in New York as well, I believe.
It's either go hard or go home, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a shame they don't do it for St George's Day.
Well, I know that. Well, I was actually speaking about this with my nan, who's very patriotic and has Celtic roots, but not of the Irish kind. And she said the same. Actually, she said that St George's Day should be celebrated more, considering. But
yeah, it should. But I think a lot of people are too worried about it offending others, which is rubbish.
Well,
but, hey.
it's a very we're living in a very PC world, I think. But it's it's nice and it's good that other people get St Patrick's Day and that people celebrate it and stuff like that. But I haven't partaked PC readers.
Oh dear. It's going to be one of those shows.
It is going to be one of those shows. Do you know what? I've been really looking forward to tonight's show because it has been 2 weeks since we have blessed the airways with our knowledge and opinions.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It has been. Have you missed me?
I have. Loads.
You're so full of crap, but I
I'll tell you how it is.
Because I have been trying to harass you. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm not offended at all. It's fine.
Of course not. Okay, so anyway, tonight's show. What have we got planned for tonight?
Well, I've gone through some of the amazing news stories that have been hitting Facebook in general, but also in the newspapers this week and last week. And there's some interesting articles that I've come across. Some are new and some are old. And the one that I wanted to talk about is the video that's doing its rounds at the moment.
Okay,
have you seen it?
Which video with this? Because I've seen quite a few poltergeist related ones lately. So
it will be the one that has the fire door that swings open. There's two different.
Yes.
When they talk about this, there's actually first it says it's abandoned a place in Brazil, and then they actually say it's a children's centre. So I have actually posted the links to that on the event page. I've actually logged out of my Facebook to share it into the group. But
Terrible.
Yes, I know. Hopefully, our listeners who have followed from the Facebook page has watched the video themselves. If not, I'm going to post it into the links of the show.
Yep.
But I mean, what are your opinions on this video?
Okay, we're talking about the one with the flashing lights, aren't we? Looking down the corridor, you've got the flashing lights at the end, and then all of a sudden you hear this bang, bang, bang of the door, yeah?
Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, I think it's too busy to be genuine, if you know what I mean, because I have never been on an investigation and had that much activity happen. Because I spoke to you earlier about this, and you said yourself, you know, it would have had to have so much energy to create that sort of activity.
Yeah.
And I've never been on an investigation where I describe it as being busy, but obviously the lights flickering, then you've got the banging constantly until the supposed investigators get down there. It's just too busy to be genuine for me.
See, now I've looked at this and I've looked at it quite intensely, actually. There's a few things that have caught my eye with it. I mean, it's a very fascinating video. And I'm in two minds of what it could... No, I'm not. Actually, I don't necessarily believe that it is anything to do with the paranormal. And I tell you for why.
Go for it.
When you look at this video, you have the flashing lights. Yes, these lights are going 10 to the dozen. And they're continuously on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. And in this time, you can see what looks to be a red fire door, open a little bit, then shut, open a little bit. Now, this isn't swinging open and then shutting. It almost reminds me of, and I'm going to put it out there, I'm not the greatest of cooks, as me and Paul have just discussed. And when I burn things, I have to waft the door to stop the smoke alarm going off. Now, when you look at this door going, that's what it reminded me of. It looked like someone had hold of it, swung it open and pulled it back, swung it open and pulled it back, which is very intriguing when you think of that space. Now, as they come closer, you can see that below that door, there is no legs. You can't see anything. There's a bit of a gap between the door and the floor, and there's no legs there, right? But there is a little bit of a wall that kind of comes out like an alcove, is it? So, you know, so
yep.
possibly someone could be standing and leaning and then swinging the door, hence why it can't swing all the way around. I mean, it's not like it kind of swings open and swings back. It's very definitive, kind of with force, there and back. And then as they get closer, they go from the lights going on, off to off.
Yep.
All of a sudden, it hasn't done that before in this whole of this video. It goes off. You have someone shining the torch. Guess where they're not shining it? In the direction of the swinging door. They're shining it towards the end of the corridor.
So they're giving someone time to get out of the way.
Yes. And then when the door does stop, so before the lights go off, the door stops. It stops half open. So what they've actually done is hid the door where against the wall that's behind it, like an actual doorway.
Yeah.
It kind of hides that, right? So you can't see it. And then when the lights go off, it's pitch black. They've shined the torch at the end of the corridor, not to the actual where it's all going on. The lights come back on as the camera, which is not pointed to the door anymore, still is pointing to where the light is pointing at the end of the corridor. It swings round. Now, at 1.14, I slowed that video right down to 1 minute 14 seconds, and in that you can see the doorway. Now, as I took a picture with my phone at my laptop screen, it kind of does the face recognition where it picks up, you know, the little square in the middle of the... Now, I kept moving the camera from side to side, from one side to the other, and when it got to the door, the little square thing in the middle lit up yellow and it focused in. So I knew there was something in that door it's picking up at. So I took a picture, which I've sent to you, Paul, and I will post it. That. I will post it up on the event page. I'm not actually sure how we can post pictures in the chat room, but I will post up to the event page and onto the like page. And it does look to have a person standing there. Not very definitive, and it is like a shadow, but it does look to like... So my conclusion is, the light, they've gone the doors are swinging. It's stopped. It's created enough shelter for someone to slip into a door that's to the side of it. In the meantime, the light has gone off for a period of time which is longer than any other period of time. The investigators' attention isn't on the door, but at the end of a corridor in front of them, not to the side of them. When they do, the light does come back on, they swing round. You have got that in the doorway that I can see. Not everyone else is going to see that, and I might be wrong. I can see. But it does kind of look at they do really investigate this little cubby hole. It literally is the width of, say, from your fingertips to your wrist. Not very deep. I mean, the person I was watching with said, maybe someone's standing inside and swing that open. I was like, that is not possible. You can't stand inside on that little ledge and swing a door and be stable. You can't.
No.
So they've obviously got that little alcove, if that is the case, standing behind the alcove and reaching over to a point and then pulling it back, reaching over to a point and then pulling it back. There is a hole in the door as well. And at no point do you actually see a figure. Like a round circle hole.
So it could be, as you said, faked like that, or it could just be an indecisive ghost.
It could be someone trying to fan the smoke.
Yeah.
Alarm. Kerry Ann's been cooking and it's burnt again.
But I totally agree, to be honest. That it's just too much going on, because I've never been on an investigation where we've had that much activity, especially that strong as well.
No.
And why would a ghost be sitting there slamming the door to the fire hose open and closed, open and closed? Why do that? It's just pointless exercise.
I mean, if you're going to manifest, because it was swinging with some kind of energy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could understand if it was a really powerful spirit that caused that manifestation. It would have the lights blink. The thing is, though, as soon as lights start flashing in a building, it kind of, I'm in a fun house to me. Do you know what I mean? That is too extreme. I might be wrong in thinking that way. I don't know if we've got any investigators that are listening that have been on an investigation and they've had flickering lights. The extent of that is, could be that there was a faulty bulb, and that's just it was like that all night. It might have been like that all night, and they're not suggesting that the lights are anything to do with what's going on at the end of the hallway. We're just assuming that. But that door, if you're going to create something, you'd like to think there would be more than just that wafting of a door.
Yeah, and it did strike me that the whole video looked like a promotion for a scary film of some sort. It was done that well. So, yeah, I'm still sceptical about that one.
You heard it here first, guys.
Absolutely. So watch out for the new films coming out.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see what more comes of it. I've only seen that video being shared once before, and I haven't seen it much more than that. But it's a fascinating one, and it definitely, it spikes my interest in the fact that I spent quite a few, good 20 minutes going over, because I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to have a look and see whether it made sense to me or whether it didn't. And again, I kind of think that it there's no logic behind it because you can't see anyone standing there. You can't see them. Kayla, sorry, I don't even know. I said it so many times. So I've got to say, I think the video is too active, too good to be true. So she does actually agree with you there, Paul.
Yeah, that's it, because we're awesome. That's what it is.
Yeah. Richard said, I think assuming that this phenomenon thinks like us is a bit of a mistake. I agree, but we also, my standpoint is this still a human being, and maybe it's a child. Maybe someone just wanted to get someone's attention, assuming it's paranormal.
There's a lot of better ways to get someone's attention than doing that. Especially in that environment. I would have thought there'd be loads of different things they could do. Even if they're throwing stones at the investigators or something.
My first thought was stones.
That would be a lot less energy being used than what it actually did. So I don't believe that for a second.
I don't either. I don't actually believe the video is real. But it'd be interesting to find out if your theory is right, Paul. If it is the case that there's a new film on its way out, or and it's something that's been created for that, or if it's just if it is actually really paranormal.
Yeah.
Either way, very fascinating.
Yep, interesting. Okay,
So,
what's next?
moving on to the next one. I found a really interesting article, and it's in Glasgow Live, so we've gone a little bit further up. Now, even though it's a great article, it's not a recent one. It was published and updated in August 2016. Now, this is about a police investigation of reports of a poltergeist after witnessing paranormal activity at a home in Lancashire. I hope I've pronounced that okay. So basically, this story is a interesting one. It is based around a woman and her teenage son. She's in this home, and she ends up getting a lot of paranormal activity. So it says that they endured 2 days of paranormal activity in their home. So I'm not sure whether this is something that just happened to start, but they said it only went on for 2 days, and in that time they experienced clothes flying across the room, lights going on and off, oven doors opening and closing, and lampshades mysteriously turning upside down. Now, the one bit that I was like, okay, it says that the mother and son's pet chihuahua also was involved because it ended up on top of a 7-foot hedge whilst playing in the garden. Those little tiny chihuahua. So that, whether there was someone else in the back garden who's done it, I don't know. But they've actually moved out of their home and ended up staying with friends and family. Now, mental health issues were looked in this particular situation. They were devoted Catholics. They did go to the church for help to ask if they could cleanse the priest could cleanse the property. Now, the thing about this story that was so interesting is that there was officers who actually attended the scene throughout the incident, and they actually witnessed things themselves.
Yep. I was talking to a guy on Tuesday night on my show, the Tried and Paranormal show, a guy called Andy Gilbert, and he's written a book about police paranormal stories called Credible Witness. If people want to go back and listen to that show, feel free. It's in the archive at Parasearch UK on Spreaker. And there's links to his book as well, so you can go out and buy it. I think it's on Amazon for about £2-3, something like that. And he was talking about that particular case. Now, I did say to him that, in my opinion, that particular story came about a week after The Conjuring 2 come out, and some of the aspects of what The Conjuring 2 is about, which is the Enfield poltergeist, was indicative of what happened at that location as well.
Right, okay.
So there was a lot of similarities between the two. So I'm not so sure that it's not a case of 15 minutes of fame by whoever reported it. It would be interesting to see whether or not we could get, with the Freedom of Information Act, the police reports possibly. But that's something that can be looked into, and I should imagine at some point we will.
See, I'm very dubious of these kind of these kind of hauntings actually being published in the papers, because I'm under the same impression that people are doing that for a reason. And 9 times out of 10, it's not necessarily to receive the help that they're saying they want to, but it's more for the fact that they actually have the police were able to be able to, said that they actually viewed some of the activity themselves. Now, we have Ashley Nibb in the chat room. Hi, Ashley. Thank you so much for joining us. And he says also sounds similar to the Pontefract poltergeist from the same part of the world, which Paul yourself, you've been to, and Richard as well, you've been along there, and it does actually sound like that. And again, with the Pontefract thing, we actually didn't find anything in regards to what had been going on previous to a couple of articles.
With the Pontefract one, 30 East Drive, not a lot we found there. But I'd done that investigation with another paranormal team who
Right,
we
okay.
won't name. But with the 39 De Grey Street, also in Hull, myself and Richard Clements, with a couple of others, went up there, and we investigated that, and we didn't get too much there either. There is obviously spirits there, because we picked up on a few things going on there, but it was more residual and just wanting to be left alone. At De Grey Street, where the Pontefract House, 30 East Drive, we really didn't, other than what we caught at the top of the stairs, which is in high debate at the moment, we didn't really catch anything there at all. But when looking back at the initial report at 30 East Drive, again, it was a bit similar to the Enfield haunting, as well as this case in Scotland. So it does. I mean, is it genuine? I'm very sceptical, because of, again, the whole Conjuring coming out about a week before this case come about. So I don't know. I don't think so.
And I think what does it for me as well is that they say they experienced 2 days of poltergeist activity. Now, what could have caused that, and where, why all of a sudden? How long have they been living there before? There's not a lot of information there in the article for you to actually draw upon,
No.
to be able to conclude really whether it's true or false. Ashley Niv says Pontefract occurred in the 60s. It's unlikely, in my opinion, that poltergeist activity will occur now. More likely psychological. Ashley, please, you're doing this to me. Contagion? I have no idea. Sorry, Ashley. I will tell you now, I'm terrible with my words. Caused by location history or telepathic interaction based on locality, and related information. Ross Pims joins us as well. Thank you, Ross Pim. And he says 30 East Drive is just like the ancient ram. It's been overfished. Too many investigations killing the activity.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, most paranormal poltergeist activity normally lasts roughly about 18 months in total, and it's normally centred around teenage girls. But the story going as far back into Pontefract, 30 East Drive, it happened with a teenage boy and the grandmother who was in the house, and that's the only reported activity really that it was investigated at the time by plumbers and electricians, and I'm sure they even got I can't remember who the group was that Maurice Grouse used to work for, or Maurice Gross, or whatever his name was. So yeah, that was a 60s story. Then you had Enfield Poltergeist in the 70s, and now you've got these coming out as well, especially around the time of the movies of the original 2 stories. So I'm not convinced.
Well, there's 2 people saving you. I mean, Andy saved me. Contagion. Thank you, Andy. I love Andy. And Ashley Niv says SPR, and Richard Clement says SPI, the group. But yeah, I mean, it does, I think, because of today's society and what investigations have begun, you are going to have this, these kind of 15-minute of fame people that want that. Because also as well, you've got to look at the money that's being made from these locations, because people are able to charge so much for them. People are not, that's why so many people are coming forward with these, supposed alleged, hauntings. If you look at previous locations that have been able to make quite a lot of money on the fact that their house is haunted, maybe it's a possibility that people are just following their lead.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest, and as I have been to Pontefract and 39 De Grey Street, and I didn't find too much activity going on there.
Okay, well, I think now will be a great time to go to a break, if that's okay. And we have some more videos and some more articles that we've come across that we would like to debate.
Hi, this is Mark. You can join me and Kerry at 9 PM every Friday night on the Dark Night Show, only on Parasearch UK Radio.
Hello, this is Kerry Ann. Please join me every Thursday at 9 p.m. on Seventh Sanctum, only on Parasearch UK Radio.
And welcome back. So we're talking about certain few videos that we see on YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that. So Kerry, what else have we found?
Okay, so this video is from a location not too far away from me. Now, I've been to this location after seeing this video in the hope that we could get an investigation there, and I'm yet to hear back, which is a little disappointing. But this one is based along Southend-on-Sea, Essex seafront. It is called the Castle Pub. It is extremely old, and it's a fantastic building. As such, it's huge, and it's amazing. It's right on top of the seafront as well, literally across the road from it. And it's also a hotel as well. And this video surfaced a long time ago. It was interesting to watch, to say the least. I am so dubious about this video. I really don't believe that it's true. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't intrigued and enough to be able to travel there and just say, please, let's investigate. After speaking to a few people that go there, them themselves said they don't necessarily agree as such, and I'm paraphrasing, just because of the setup of the building. So the video is now in the chat room. You're welcome to go along and have a listen or have a look, but I'll explain. The Castle Pub is a 2-story building. The first, the ground floor that you go into, you go through the doors, you can either go left or right, or in front of you is a spiral staircase. You go up the staircase and you go onto a U-shaped landing, which kind of has the hole in the middle cut out where the stairs come up. So one side is the dance floor, the other side is the bar, and then you have a long strip along the front of the pub of landing, which they've got a couple of sets of chairs going down. And the video actually shows what looks to be pint glasses and tissues flying from the table. The setup of it is that camera is based at the bar end looking down. You do have like an alcove come out and with some little archways where if you go through, you've got another strip where there is another line of chairs going, like table and chairs going down. Now, me and Paul looked at this video earlier, and we both kind of really attentively kind of tried to take it apart. There was a few things that you felt uncomfortable about, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah, there was. The whole video is edited together. I think whoever done this video, at the beginning it's time-lapsed, then it goes into real time, and then time-lapsed again at the end. So with the time-lapse, it films every couple of seconds rather than continuously. And then you've got real time, which is then continuously, and then it goes back to time-lapsed. So I do feel that this has been edited together. There appears to be either an adult or a person, a child, maybe jumping up and down behind the sign on the left-hand side of the video, and then all of a sudden he disappears. That's sort of what gives it away a bit, because it is edited together. That is one thing that I'm quite uneasy about. And in one of the archways on the right-hand side, you see the light coming through the archways. On 2 of the archways, it's pretty clear that the light's coming through. But on the first one that's closest to the camera, there's a big black shadow being cast from something in that archway.
Now this is where I'm kind of like biting my tongue, because I agree with Paul to a point, but when we get to this shadow, and I don't know if you guys can have a quick look and refresh, if you've seen it before, have a look and see, refresh yourself with it. But with the shadow that you're talking about, there's an obvious step that kind of goes up into where people, like through the archway, right? And if you look at that shadow, you have a distinct sunlight, like a gap between the shadow and that step. Now, if there was someone standing there, surely that sunlight would create a shadow from that, the step onto the floor, rather than kind of having a step, then a gap of just sunlight where there's nothing that's causing a shadow, and then a shadow.
Well, yeah, I can understand that, but I mean, I don't know the layout of this place because I've never been there. But is
Right.
there somewhere that they could stand that would cast that type of shadow? I don't know. I mean, I'm only
The only thing
clutching
that
at straws, really.
the only thing I would suggest is if there was a table there that was high enough that would have overlapped the window to cause the sunlight to come in from underneath. But then if someone stood on that table, would then create that kind of shadowing as well. Yeah, that's the only thing that I can really think of that maybe would create that. But then again, I don't believe that this video is paranormal. I do believe there's a lot more to this. I mean, in the chat room, there is suggestion that what you're actually looking at is TV that's causing that. It's a football match on the TV. If you blow it up to full screen, you can see it. Richard, that's from Andy Mercer.
Okay.
Richard Clements says there's a TV in the room. And Ashley Nib says if it's CCTV in a pub, it would have camera ID and timestamp. I get a feeling it's staged from a view of the footage alone. Ashley, I agree with you. There's quite a few people that I've spoken to as well feels the same thing. There isn't actually CCTV in that pub as far as I'm aware of that I've seen. I went upstairs and tried to have a look, but there was a function on at the time. And where they're saying, not that there's not CCTV in that pub, sorry, I take that back. There's not in the place that it's being filmed from. There doesn't seem to be CCTV from that point that I saw. I could be wrong, but I didn't see anything there. And I did go with that after watching that video. In fact, I even we kind of went up, had a look around, come down to the bar, had a drink, and then re-watched the video again, and then tried to have another sneaky look up there again once there was a function going on. So there was only so much we could have done, but yeah, it was interesting to say the least. But whether I believe it or not, I don't necessarily believe.
Yeah, I'd say
No.
take it at face value. It's an interesting clip, and I would like to go and investigate it for myself to put them explanations to the test. But yeah, it's a difficult one for me because I haven't been there, so I'm gonna bow to your expertise on this one because you've been there. So I'll
Yeah,
go with
and I would really like to go and investigate. Honestly, I would. Because just alone, the building itself is absolutely fantastic. Now, the ladyman, they're not really into it. They're new owners since that video come out, and it's not really their thing. And I have left my number and tried to convince them. But yeah, they haven't heard anything yet. So fingers crossed that we might do, but I doubt it very much. But the building itself is beautiful. It's in an amazing place as well, right on top of the seafront. And you just know Southend-on-Sea is such an old town. And you can tell it's been there for as long as Southend-on-Sea's been there, whether that's true or not. But it just looks like it fits really well. And the history it must have as well, it's amazing. It is amazing. So hopefully one day. But for the meantime, no, I don't think that video is real. There's just too much. Can I see how it was created? No, there's nothing in my brain that automatically clicks. That's what happened. But it just doesn't it doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yes. So with that being said, we also have another article that I found in Essex. It's in Romford. Yes, really. Yes,
Okay.
really. It's in Romford. Now, I've seen the video, right? And it's so grainy and so kind of, I don't know. You can't actually see what's going on. You just know there's movement. Everywhere else you can see defined chairs in this video. But in this circle where the movement is supposed to be, it's not so clear. I'm going to paste. There you go. It's in the chat room, so if you want to have a look. It's not so obvious. And it's what basically happens is this building was once a war memorial hall. It's now turned into a theatre. They'd had a medium come along to do an evening of clairvoyance, a demonstration of clairvoyance. And what actually happened was at 3:00, they've come back in the next day and they've noticed that the chairs had been moved. And at 3:00 in that morning previous, they'd gone back and looked at their CCTV, and they've seen at that time that this chair started to move by itself. Now, the medium involved has gone as far as saying that they've now got definitive proof of the paranormal, which made me cringe a little bit. Because although no other chair in the hall has actually moved, you can't see anything that didn't move it either. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because go on.
I'm quite the chairs that moved. That they were the ones in the middle, weren't they?
There's one chair that moved.
Okay.
There was only one chair that moved. And I know Ashley Niv says, definitive proof. I know, that's exactly what I thought when I read it. Jay Lynch is in the chat room. Hi, Jay. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes. And they said that it was definitive proof now of the paranormal existing. But this is a medium. Not that all mediums, I'm talking from someone who works with energy themselves, but I do find that mediums... especially it would have come off of his own back, this medium, because what he's suggesting is the fact that they've done the paranormal, the demonstration of mediumship that night, that it was that, because he said, I did feel the presence of a mischievous being, possibly a child. And this is what he's accrediting this movement to, is this child or, mischievous being that's come along and kind of just, and it does properly move. The chair does properly move forward. To the point that when they did notice it, they were thought something else had gone on and wanted to check the CCTV. So it's very obvious that something had happened.
But again, with assuming that it was a spirit, why move that chair? There was others around it that would be so much easier to move.
Yeah, I mean, but it would be, why not that chair? If you was to go along that train of thought, why not? I mean,
if I was a spirit, for example, I wouldn't wade into the middle of the sea of chairs just to move the chair that's in the middle. I'd pick off one of the ones on the outside, because I would have had to go through them to get to the middle.
Well, actually, Richard says that there was a table that moves to the bottom as well. I did notice that, and Jay also says about there being an orb. I noticed the orb too. I'm just very dubious about orbs, so I don't
that
tend
was probably
to...
dust.
That is why I'm dubious about orbs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you say it's dust. Was it dust? Was it? I mean, it's 3 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
and I'm sure no one's been in...
Well, there must be to create the movement.
The only
so
fleck?
There's movement in that chair, so therefore someone's got to be kicking
one
up
fleck.
dust.
There's one fleck?
Yeah, it's got to start sometime, innit?
What, one fleck? Just one little piece of dust just decided to jump up, say hi, and then disappear again?
Absolutely.
Other than that...
Underneath the camera, there could be some bloke with a remote control to turn that chair around.
Andy, you're supposed to be my favourite. Andy's also saying, of course it's...
Exactly.
Ashley Nib says bugs, moisturiser, dust, the orbs. And Richard said dust kicks up by the chair moving. Roll of my eyes, Andy. That's what Andy says to me.
Yeah, there you go. As Richard said, dust kicked up by the chair moving. That's it. That's what done it.
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, Kayla says that more like the medium didn't shut things down. I mean, energy sticks around, so maybe it's just energy build up. Orbs, let me get out my duster. Oh, Kyla, what the hell?
Dust.
No. But anyway, we're not debating. This is why I did not bring up the orb, Jay. This is why we didn't do it, because this is what happens, Jay.
Dust. Anybody? Dust.
I know, that's what I keep hearing. Dust, anyone? Dust. But the chair does definitely move. But what causes that, I'm not sure. I don't necessarily, again, think it's definitive proof that that paranormal activity exists. As far as this guy claims, I do think that I have messaged Richard, I'm not going to lie, and kind of said to him, can we get into this place maybe and see if we can do something, because that would be really good. There's a lot of history in the building.
So what you could do is go in now, hoover up, do a bit of dusting. No. No. We get Kyla to bring a duster, and actually I'm not convinced either. But yeah, no, I'm definitely not going to be hoovering. But
I may bring someone who can.
Okay, cool beans. Sounds good to me.
But I would like to go there. It is in Essex. It's in Romford. It's the theatre. The article itself is not that long ago, I don't think. No, there's not a date on the article. But nevertheless, it is interesting, and it is a really fascinating video as well. Because I will say this, without dismissing it completely, no other chair does move. There is no disturbance in that hall. I mean, if there was something, outside that could have caused vibrations, then that would have been one hell of a vibration to be able to make that
I
one.
was going to say, just the fact that one chair moved and it was in the middle, for me, would rule out vibration, because the vibration would travel and more chairs would have moved.
Yeah, it would do.
It wouldn't be centred.
No, but then, like I said, it's so poorly lit. The video is poor quality. Someone standing to the side. It is a theatre as well. It's only just become a theatre. I'm not saying that someone's going to do that for publicity or whatever. I'm not saying that. This is more recent. No, it's not. Ignore me. I had a, is it 12 o'clock all around the world moment.
Yeah.
It's actually got the date on the article as today's date, but clearly that's just telling me what time it is and the day's date. That's bad. But it's really, like I said, really poor quality. Really, you can't, poorly lit. You can't see if there is anything that's manipulating it outside of the camera frame whatsoever. So you can't really.
I think it's one of those places where you want to go and investigate it yourself and see what we could get, if anything. So I'll be well up for that.
Yeah, I would, Richard. Let's make this happen. So there's somewhere else. But I have sent Richard. I did find out more information about the location. I did send it all over to Richard as well, contact details and stuff like that, for us to be able to maybe get in touch and see if we can do something. And even if we go along just to debunk whether that chair does actually move.
Yeah.
Now, if there's something in the room, or looking at that,
see if we can recreate it. And I think it is doable, but I think we would have to go to some extreme lengths to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, if it is a manifestation of energy, like Kayla, sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. I do apologise. I'm terrible with my words, as those that listen will know. But if it is a manifestation of energy, then, we have the tools to be able to do that as well, because we have Kerry Greenaway, the Crystal Ladies, the world of the fact that I work with energy, that, we'll see if it is a case that the medium didn't close down properly and there was a lot of energy that was around in the room that kind of caused or could have caused or helped cause. I'm just going out on a limb here and kind of exploring all avenues that might, cause that.
Well,
more than one camera angle would be good, which is right. And Jay, yes, we're doing a paranormal exchange. You can come over here and I'll go over there.
Sorted.
Jay said I'm coming over and joining you. And Richard said I'm looking into it, which is great. Great.
Fantastic.
So that's the most recent video that I come across. So is there any other stories that you come across?
One other video that I have seen lately, it was a guy set his camera up in the kitchen, and his fridge, the top door, kept opening and shutting, and it was constant. And then all of a sudden the camera fell over. To me, again, it's too busy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just too busy. Why would a ghost want to keep opening and closing the fridge? It's not like it's wafting the smoke around to stop the fire alarm going off or anything. It was just pointless exercise.
I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do believe that if spirit, they can, if they want to draw attention, they will, and they'll do it in whatever means they can to draw attention. When you say why do that, I say why not? Because, I mean, it would be a lot of energy to do, and it would be pointless just opening and closing the fridge all the time. But it is one way of being able to get attention. Now,
if it's got that much energy, why didn't it just open the door at force and throw all the food over the floor?
But then again, why not? Why not do that?
Why
Double
not
negative.
do that? Double
Negative.
Double negative. So you're really asking the same question I am.
But then what? But why? You know, that's what. If it is spirit, then that's what they decided to do. And if that's
no, it was just a stupid thing to do.
Are you actually giving the spirit a lecture?
I am.
Are you going to go into a full Kerry Greenaway mode?
It's
not big.
It's not clever. Exactly.
Oh, bless. But no, I do agree. I don't necessarily agree wholeheartedly, but I do. Paul, if you've got the link for it, would you be able to, if you can, put it in? I
haven't, but I can look and put it onto the Facebook group if I find it again. It was only just I was looking for things, and I just that sort of, as I was going through the clips, it sort of registered, but I just kept scrolling. So if I do see it again, I will grab the link and put it on.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, again, I've seen one in particular I saw, and the kitchen was going crazy, and are these kind of things I don't watch because I just think it's too much. It is too much, but it is coming up to 10 to 9, which means at 9 o'clock the Kerry Greenaway and the Mark Manley Paranormal show will begin. So, before that happens, we have our famous Paranormal.
We do.
I couldn't get any more Essex then, could I?
You couldn't. Go for it.
Paranormal.
In it.
In it. So, yes. Paranormal, I found I tell you what, this one kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. I think just because it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a bit, but yeah, makes me blood run cold a little bit. So there's 2 examples of this story, and it's called The Face in the Mirror. No, sorry, The Face in the Window, or The Killer's Reflection. It's been known as both. I know, I like the way you set the mood there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. So the first example is a girl was at home all alone watching TV on a cold winter's night. The television was right beside the sliding glass door and the blinds were open. Suddenly she saw a wrinkled old man staring at her through the glass. She screamed, grabbed the phone next to the couch and pulled a blanket over her head so the guy couldn't see her while she was called the police. She was so terrified that she remained under the blanket until the police got there. It snowed a lot during the day, so the police naturally decided to look for footprints, but there were no footprints at all on the snowy ground outside the door. Puzzled, the police went back inside the house, and that's when they saw the wet footprints on the floor leading up to the couch where the girl was sitting. The policemen looked at each other nervously and said, "Miss, you're extremely lucky," one of them finally said to her. "Why?" she said. "Because," he said, "the man wasn't outside at all. He was in here, standing right behind the couch. When you saw him in the window, that was his reflection."
Dun, dun, dun.
Do you know what? When I read it at the end, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a little bit freaky." There was this.
It does actually remind me of a story that Richard Lehman wrote, because that was a bit similar.
Okay.
About a murderer in the back seat of the car. I think it was called All Hallows Eve. I think the book was called.
Oh, see this. Oh no, I don't like it. There is a second example of this. So it says a 15-year-old girl was babysitting her little sister while her parents went out to a party. She sent her sister off to bed around 9:30 while she stayed up watching her favourite TV show. She sat in her recliner with a blanket and watched until it went off at around 10:30. After it went off, she turned around in her seat to face the big glass door and watched the snowfall. She sat there for about 5 minutes or so when she noticed a strange man walking towards the glass from outside. She sat there staring as he stared back at her. He started to pull a shiny object out of his coat. Thinking it was a knife, she immediately pulled the covers over her head. After about 10 minutes, she removed the covers and saw that he was gone, and then called 911, and they rushed over. They examined outside for any footprints in the snow, but there was none to be found. 2 cops walked into her house to tell her the bad news, and they found a big trail of big wet footprints leading up to the chair where she was sitting. The cops come to their conclusion and immediately told the girl she was very lucky because the man she was staring staring at was not standing outside, but he was standing behind her, and what she saw was his reflection. Where's the dun-duns?
Dun dun dun.
There you go. See, do you know what the windows? I've got a thing about people. The thing is with windows, right? Is when it's dark and the lights are on, people can see in, but you can't see out.
Yeah, that's right.
And that is a really horrible thing for me. So the fact that there's someone, that's what done it for me in the story. I don't like windows.
So yeah, I mean, the last one is obviously a story that was just made up because the police don't rush anywhere. So it's
allegedly,
obvious,
in your opinion.
I think in everyone's opinion, really, you ring them and they're like, well, we can't do nothing till something's actually happened.
Oh.
You know what they say.
Yes, I mean, it is a buy some curtains. Andy, curtains are not enough. Ashley says mic drop. That's it. Poltergeist.
And also, it's funny how, someone's standing there with a big knife ready to stab you up, and it's actually the bed covers that keep you safe. I think that's quite good as well.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it is clear.
All these police officers walking around in stab vests. No, get rid of the stab vests. Bed blankets.
In your opinion. Oh, no, it is clearly an urban myth. It is an urban myth, and one that's quite well known as well. Yes, creepypasta, it definitely is, Andy. But yeah, out of all the stories, I mean, you come across, Dog's Lick 2. We've spoken about the clown statue as well, that story. But out of all of them, this window one, mate, gives me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah. It really does. I think it was because when I was younger, my cousin used to tell me that people used to stare at me through the window just to scare me, because I told her there was monsters underneath her bed. So we were really young at the time. And I think that's where the fears come from. So yeah, no.
Well, when my godsons were little babies and they were scared of monsters, we actually got like a lavender spray that you could spray under the bed, and it had labels on the front saying "monster be gone" and things, and it was like monster spray to get rid of the monsters.
Wow. Oh, that's what she needs.
And the lavender helped the children sleep as well. So it's good stuff.
What she needed was me to not tell her that there was monsters underneath her bed, and she would have been okay. Yeah. She wouldn't even need that spray.
Yeah, you should say no. Monsters, nothing. Ghosts. That's what you got to worry about.
True that. Well, we're coming towards the end of our show. We're the last show for us this week. Next week, what's your show about next week?
I'm actually talking. The Trident Paranormal show is about. I think it's different types of investigations, from investigations with paranormal event companies to private investigations, ghost hunts, all that sort of thing, and what the differences are. And I'm going to be joined in the studio by Kerry Greenaway. She's joining me for that conversation. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it will be good.
Well, Seventh Sanctum will be back on Thursday at 9 p.m. I'm still working on my show, but it will be amazing. Whatever we're talking about is going to be amazing.
I'm sure it will be.
It will be. It will be. It's like be there or be square.
Have you not got an interview lined up yet for it?
No.
Okay, I thought everyone had interviews until April.
Possibly. I'm going to speak to
everyone's
Richard.
I don't know. Everyone's got interviews. I can't remember. I can't keep up with them now.
I'm going to speak to Richard. But whatever I'm doing is going to be absolutely fantastically amazing.
Of course.
Because I'll tell you what, the interviews that I have been doing lately are absolutely, I love them. I mean, so fascinating. I learn so much from these people as well. And then we have the Great Paranormal Debate, which will be back again next Friday. And we're going to be talking about haunted objects that have been covered within the media.
Yep. Particularly the haunted paintings, wasn't it, I think?
Yes, the crying boy and the crying girl.
Yeah.
Is something we were going to be looking at. And then we have we're going to have straight after this show is the 9 p.m. show with Mark Manley and Kerry Greenaway, which is going to be fascinating. But if you're going to listen to that, which you have to, if you listen to this one, it's almost like you've entered in some kind of contract. You have to you have to refresh the page and keep refreshing the page, and the link will automatically come up for their show. So keep refreshing it, it will come on, and then obviously they'll be back at the same time next week as well after the Great Paranormal Debate. So yeah, have an amazing weekend, and if you're going out investigating, take me with you, or stay safe. Actually, do both. Take me with you and stay safe.
So I'll leave you at home then.
Oh no, I'm fine. It's when I'm outside in woods. That's you guys that I'm worried for.
It's the badgers you need to worry about. Don't worry about that.
The badgers. Yes, the badgers, and just generally being outside in the woods. But I have my Andy Mercer with me, and he will protect me against all. I know he will.
Yeah,
I know he will. There's like tumbleweeds in the chat room. He's not even replied to that.
He's just going to find the nearest badger set, and he'll be like, "You stay there."
Yeah, we just don't worry about the duct tape. It's fine. This is what we're going to do. I've left him. Well, good night, everyone. And I'm going to be in the chat room for Kerry Greenways and Mark Manley's show, and I hopefully will catch up with everyone at the weekend as well. And again, if you have an investigation this weekend, they've also, I'll tell you what there is happening this weekend, which Ashley Nib is involved with, is the Sage Paranormal Convention. It's my understanding that it's a free event.
Oh wow, okay.
My understanding. Ashley can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's going to be a fantastic one. Sage Paranormal, I love those guys. MJ's fantastic, and their conventions are always amazing. I actually think Ashley Nib is going to be doing a talk, I think, as well. So brilliant. I'll post the link to the event on our page and in this event page as well for this group, and I'll try and post it into the comments of this chat as well. So if you do fancy it at the weekend and you haven't got anything going on, then go along. It'd be fantastic, and meet some of the guys that are chatting in the chat room as well.
Brilliant.
Oh, no, sorry, it's not a convention. It's a few talks at South Cart Books. Either way, it's going to be amazing. So if you've got some time, go along this weekend and have a listen. Absolutely. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, and we'll speak to everyone next week.
Good night, everybody, and stay safe. See you all next week.
Welcome to the Great Paranormal Debate with hosts Kerry and Paul on Parasearch UK Radio.